Hello, everyone. So, before we begin, I want you to imagine yourself in this situation. You are a young, ambitious, and well-known person who started a famous company. And you poured your heart into creating something groundbreaking, something you believe will change the world. But just as you're about to showcase your vision, you are blindsided. You are fired by the company from yourself, just because the board called your leadership a complete threat to the company. And even worse, the media tears you apart, labeling you a one-hit wonder. At that time, how would you feel? Would you feel lucky or utterly defeated? I think most of you would see this as a devastating downfall. But what if I tell you this was a real situation that happened to Steve Jobs in 1985, when he was brutally fired from Apple, the company he had founded and built? This should have been the end of his story. But instead of letting failure define him, he turned it into fuel. He launched a new company, Next, which again struggled to survive. He then put his effort into Pixar, which was also failing, until his investment in the short film Teen Toy caught Disney's attention, which then led to the creation of Toy Story, one of the most successful animation studios in the world. In a remarkable turn of events, Apple bought Next. Jobs returned to Apple, where he utilized the technology developed in Next into the tech giant we know today. Looking back, Jobs said, "It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patients needed it." Sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. It was his perseverance and optimism that transformed all his setbacks into opportunities. His story made me rethink the role of luck in shaping our experiences. Are lucky and unlucky fixed states, or do they change based on how we perceive them? If you raise the same question as me, I would suggest you dig a bit into psychology to fish the answer. So, let's start by looking at a classic scenario: half full or half empty glass. For a glass half filled with water, if you see it as half full, you are adopting what psychologists call gain frame. You focus on what you have, so you may feel lucky. But if you think it is half empty, you're in a loss frame. You focus on what's missing, so you may feel unlucky. This may seem like just a matter of perspective, but this mental shift doesn't just shape how we feel. It drives how we act, and ultimately, it defines the real-world outcomes we experience. Let's say a hiker is making for a long trail. If he thinks, "I still have half a bottle of water to drink, it's great," he will likely pace himself, taking strategic steps and stay calm until successfully getting to the top. However, if he thinks, "I only have half of the water left, it's definitely not enough to drink," panic might set in, making him afraid of the rest of the journey. He might even give up before he has to. This principle doesn't just apply in this single half-filled water scenario. It applies generally in our everyday life. Taking the example of someone saving money, focusing on, "I've already saved half of what I need, I'll soon achieve my goal," creates motivation to continue, while thinking, "Why I only saved half for such a long time might cause frustration and discouragement for future saving. So, all these real-life examples show that our inner world, which is the way we process experiences, directly affects how we engage with the outer world. The fact is that nothing changes here, including the reality. The only thing that does change is the way we feel about it. And this is the essence of inside-out thinking, shaping our external experiences by transforming our internal perceptions. Now, if thinking positively is our natural instinct, we wouldn't even need to talk about this. But is it true? I'll show you another example. Like many of you, I had always been struggling with a 6.5 in my IELTS writing and speaking test because I need to get to 7. Last week, I received my latest report, a 7 in writing, but a 6 in speaking. My immediate reaction was, oh no, a 6 in speaking? The overwhelmed frustration hit me down, and I did not even realize how well my effort into practice writing paid off. If you reflect on your past experiences, you would find this not a coincidence. Actually, it's a pattern hardwired into the human's mind. Prospect theory by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky suggests that our brains tend to focus more on potential losses than on gains, and that shifting from a loss frame to a gain frame is significantly harder than the other way around. So, if positive thinking doesn't come naturally to us, it means that optimism isn't something we are born with. It's something we have to train, just like a muscle. And the more we practice, the stronger it becomes. Human history is full of examples of individuals who transformed adversity into progress, just like the story of Steve Jobs. This is not because the external situation suddenly changed, but because those people trained themselves to be positive, and so that they changed the way they approach the situation from within. Think about Thomas Edison, who said famously, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His so-called bad luck in repeatedly failing to invent the light bulb ultimately led to one of the greatest innovations throughout history. His internal response to failure, his mindset, led to his success. Similarly, our own setbacks can be the stepping stones to our greatest achievements, but only if we choose to see them in that way. Also, reframing challenges isn't just about personal growth. It has broader implications. Consider global issues such as climate change or social inequality. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the scale of these problems. However, if we shift our perspective from the problem is too serious, it has no way to be solved, to it's fortunate that we discovered the problem before it gets worse. We are shifting our minds to focusing more on opportunities rather than setbacks. And in this case, we can move from remaining powerless to taking actions to change. To wrap this up, I want you to take away a message. It is from psychologist Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology. He introduced the concept of learned optimism, the idea that we can train ourselves to expect positive outcomes, even in the face of adversity. By consciously shifting our minds from what's wrong to what's right, we can rewire our brains to see opportunities where others see obstacles. stay hungry, stay foolish. This is what Jobs left for us in his famous Stanford commencement speech. These words convey mere ambition. They articulate a philosophy of navigating life's uncertainties with courage and curiosity. I hope you can actually gain something from his words. That is, transformation begins within. When we hunger for growth and foolishly trust our capacity to learn, we don't just let luck happen to us. We instead create it on our own. Thank you.